Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, January 11th, 2021. Today's new unit material will start off with the Lesson 1, Topic 1 on statistics, with the idea of mean, median, and mode. 3 different ways to deal with analyzing your data. Statistics was introduced to you in grade 11 Math Essentials 30S. And hopefully you have heard of these words, the terms that they're called, mean, median, and mode. They're all measures of central tendency. Basically, central tendency represents a central value of the data. Together, these 3 measures of central tendency give a more complete representation of the data. Now, statistics uses data and they analyze the data to find out certain things, like what's the average temperature in Cranberry for the winters for the last 10 years, or what's the average birth rates of the hospital having boys versus having girls being born in the course of 5 or 10 years. What's the average temperature for the last year or 2, stuff like that. So let's talk about the first one, the term of mean. Now I've shortened it up here and I'll read it here as well, then I'll also read from the book, from my handout that you will have in an email copy. You add the numbers in a data set, which is a collection of data. Then you divide by the total. So what I did is I created a different example than what's on the page, but I'll also talk about this example and quickly about the one on the page. So let's say that these grades here, this represents 60%, 50%, 80%, 75%, 80%, and 50%. That's a data set of 6 items. Those could be test scores, it could be a person's final grades for the semester, for the year. They represent a piece of data. Now to do mean, what you need to do is know how many pieces of data you have. We have 6 pieces of data. To figure out the mean, or another way of saying mean is average. To figure out the mean or average, you take and add up all your pieces of data. In this case, it came out to be 395. You take your pieces of data, add them up. 395 divided by the 6 items there. So the average, or mean, is going to be 65.83. Now there's a line above the 3 here. And that represents the fact that it repeats. And the repeating decimal, I don't want to show it at 83333, so I put the line there. I stop it at 2 decimal places. So the second item is median. Median is the middle number. In a data set, it's the middle number when the numbers are written in numerical order. We'll talk about that soon when I show the example here, which is straight from your notes. Oh, before I forget, the example of mean in the handout is very similar to the one I've shown you. They have 78, 72, 75, 67, and 78. And they ask you to find the mean. So you take and you add them all up, and their answer came out to be 370. There are 5 pieces of data in the data set, so 370 divided by 5 would give you the mean or average value of 74. So the median, you take a look at what your numbers are. Now in this case here, my numbers were 78. Again, these could be test scores and stuff like that. There was a 78, a 72, a 75, a 67, and a 78. But we can't find the middle number yet. First step we have to do is arrange from smallest value to largest. 62, 72, 75, 78, and another 78. There are 2 78s. Locate the middle value. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. By going from left and right, we find out the middle number happens to be 75. The idea of mode. A mode in a set of numbers, in a data set of numbers, it is the one that occurs the most. It's the number that occurs the most. Sometimes a data set or data sets can have no mode, one mode, or more than one mode. It's basically in a shorter form of what I've written there. What number do you see that appears the most in your data set? In this example, we have 78, 72, 75, 67, 78. The mode is what number or numbers in your data set do you see that repeat itself? Now you can have more than one mode. In this case, the number that repeats itself is that you have these guys here. You have a 78. Now, do you want to write them both down? Well, not really. You just have to say, well, the mode is 78 because you see it twice. If you want to be keen like that, you can go 78 and 78 because it's not twice. Can you have a longer piece of data set? Yeah, it doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. It could be extremely long and have multiple modes of many different combinations. You could have 78 appear 5 times. Then you can see another mode where you see 77 appear 3 times. And you put them in how many times you saw those pieces of data appear more than once. Different modes. You can have no mode, one mode, or more than one mode. So we have an example 1 that's finished in your notes, but I also want to walk you through it so you see how it is. Sometimes it's easier to see it visually as well as hearing about it rather than just relying on saying, hey, it's in your book, read it. So example 1 says, consider the following set of numbers: 107, 118, 96, 102, 96, and 118. Find the following: mean, median, and mode. So, before we begin to do anything, let's take and put these numbers in order from the smallest to the largest. So I'm going to put them off to the side here. Starting with 96. And there's another 96. There's 2 of them. And then we have 102. And then we have 107, 118, and 118. So we put them off to the side here, we put them in order from the smallest to the largest. It's going to help us soon for most likely doing median. So let's get this out of the way now while we're here. So mean. What we do is we add up all the numbers. 96 plus 96 plus 102 plus 107 plus 118 plus 118. That would give us a big, large number of 637. Now we're going to have to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces in your data set. And that will give you 106.2. And that is your mean. Also known another easy way of saying that's basically your average. Now the median. The median is the number that is in the middle. Because we did this early, of 96, 96, 102, 107, 118, and 118, we have to find what the middle number is. Problem is, if we go from 96 to 96, that takes us to 102. Now, that would say 102 is the middle number there, right? But wait a second. 118, 118, 107. Then that would say that's the middle number there. If you have an even number in your data set, here's what you do. You take your 2 middle numbers, you add them up. Since there's 2 of them, to find out the middle, you take basically what's the average of them. So you take 102 plus 107. You get that answer, and that will be divided by 2 to give you what you need. So 107 plus 102. That's 209. You divide that by 2, this will give you the number you need to be considered your median, which is 104.5. So now you know the median of this data set of numbers is 104.5. And you also learned a new trick that if you have an even number of pieces of data and you're trying to find the middle, you take the 2 middle values, add them up, divide by 2. So the median here is 104.5. The mode. Look for the number that appears most frequently. Now it can be used in the top number, or if we rearrange it from smallest to largest. We've got 2 of them. 96 appears 2 times, as well as 118. That becomes your 2 sets in your data set. Those are the 2 modes. They're both modes. Example 2, finding the mean, median, and mode. A grade 12 class with 15 students was polled to determine the number of television sets they had in their homes. These are the results the students provided. So I wrote the numbers on the board: 3413, 2211, 4583, 274. After the results were in, one of the students stated the median of this data set was 1. Question A says, what error did the student make to state, he states or she states that the data set was 1, but there's an error in that. What error did the student make? Well, I'll give you something about median. You have to do this. This student didn't arrange the numbers. To figure out the median correctly, you could go right to the middle number there and see, there's my middle number. And he says, or she says, it's 1. But here's the catch. To figure out median properly, you have to arrange the numbers. So you're going to have 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 7, 8, and there's your numbers arranged from lowest to highest value. What you do now is you look for the middle number. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces of data. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty much your middle value right here is going to be right there. Your median is equal to 3. Now it says, what is the mean for C? Now with that, you add up all your pieces of data. You can use this number set here if you want to add them up like that, or if you want to add them up that's been rearranged from the median. You're going to add them all up. And that's going to give you a total of 50. I'm going to save having to put that on the board to add them all up. You're going to divide by the number of pieces of data. There's 15 pieces of data in your data set here. You're going to get an average or a mean of 3.3. What is the mode? Now I'll put that over here. This will be D. Mode is what number appears the most. Now you can have more than one mode. In this case, I see one that appeared 3 times, 2 appeared 3 times, 3 appeared 3 times, and 4 appeared 3 times as well. There are 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are multiples of modes in this data set. Example 3, finding the mean, median, and mode. In a small restaurant, the employees are trying to convince the manager that they need a raise. The following positions with salaries are as follows. Supervisors, 2 people, 34,000. Servers, 9 of those, at 21,000. Bartenders, 3 people, at 26,000. Hosts, there's 2 of them, they make 16,000. This is in a year. And cooks, there's 7 of them, they make 31,000 a year. One employee states that the mean salary of all employees is $21,000. Another employee believes that the mean salary of all employees is $26,000. And a further employee disagrees with and states that the mean salary of all employees is $25,391.30. $25,391.30. Question A says, which employee is correct? B says, which mistakes did the other 2 employees make? And which measure of central tendency should the employees use to signify that they need a raise? Is it mean, median, or mode? Now what I did here is I took all the salaries that they make, and when it says that there's hosts, 2 of them that make 16,000, I may have put an extra 16,000 in there. Okay, good. I just noticed that. What I did is I wrote them all out. I wrote that there were 2 hosts because I put this in order of the lowest salary to the highest. There's 2 that make 16,000, so I wrote it out as 2 16,000 numbers. Then there were the second lowest, which is basically moving up now, there were 9 servers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That made 21,000. Then there were 26,000, 3 bartenders. So I put down 26,000 3 times. Then there was a big set of numbers, 7 cooks. I made 31,000. and then there are two supervisors that make 34,000. I put them in order. Now what we need to do with that is we need to add that all up. Now there's a trick to this. You could do it like this. 2 times 34, and I don't think on my, did I put it in order? Yeah, I did, okay. 2 times 34,000, because there's 2 of them, plus 3 times 26,000, plus 7 times 31,000, plus 9 times 21,000, and add that to 2 times 16,000. And what I did earlier, if you notice on the board here, I haven't talked about a number, is I went and realized there were 23 people in total that work at this restaurant. That's the size of your data set. There's 23 pieces of information. 23 pieces of information after we do all the math above there. Now, to speed things up, let's say I did the math and we get this, 584,000. We divide that by 23. This will give you the mean salary, the average salary, which is 25,391.30. This is your mean. There was a third person, that one individual said, hey, I disagree with both of you for saying it was 21,000 or 26. And this person is correct. That is the mean salary. Now, what these other people probably didn't do for question B for mistakes is they didn't put the numbers in order, and they just kind of looked at it and said, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The middle one would be if there's supervisors, servers, bartenders, hosts, and cooks. Well, the middle number there is the bartenders of 3 of them at 26,000. And because you see servers that there's 9 of them, the other person probably figured, well, that's your mode. That appears the most. So let's go for B, and let's write that one down. Well, the mode is correct. 21,000 appears the most. But that's not indicative of how much they should be making. That's just the number that appears the most. The other person once said, well, I've got 34,000, 26,000. Actually, I'm going to see if I can see how they read that. This is kind of a unique one. I know how they say it, but I want to write it down correctly. 34,000, 21,000, 26,000, 16,000, and then we got 31,000. The other person went, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's my middle number, there's how much we make. And both of them were incorrect. This person did a median. Now, honestly, it says for C, which measure of central tendencies should the employees use to signify they need a raise? I wrote down mode would get their point of a low salary, but it's not the best measure. But it gets their point across that the mode is the lowest, or kind of like not a very good salary, it appears the most. What I would recommend is I would probably suggest that, to be quite honest, the mean, the average. You should look at the average. I would choose for question C, I would choose mean. That is a big, unique question. Because if you write out the data set, and this is what they would do, they would either make it simplified like this, or they would write it all out so that you could see what the middle number would be. You can physically see it, and I recommend this. There's going to be some questions in future assignments where you might want to write the numbers out from the smallest to largest in your data set so you see it for something like this. That is a 10-mark question if you ever get something like that. So on your assignment that's stapled with stapled, you're getting a digital copy. On your assignment that is with this lesson 1, topic 1, in your electronic version, you'll see that there's going to be mean, median, mode, and range assignment number 1. Mean definition, median definition, and mode definition. Now the thing is, it asks about range too. Now range is where your numbers appear from the smallest number to the largest number in your data set. That's considered what we call a range. A range is, if I was to put on the board here 16 and I was to go to, let's see, if I was to go to 40, my range of numbers here, how much is that? So what I would do is I would go, okay, I would go 40, subtract 16. And that will tell you my range. 24. My mental math wasn't firing today. So that's your range. Between your data set with the smallest number and the largest number, what is your range of numbers going to be? Anywhere from 17 to 39. Well, that's 24 numbers in between. That's your range. There'll be a question or two like that. The worksheet is fairly self-explanatory for mean, median, and mode, as long as you followed my video and you read your notes carefully in the assignment. The toughest question will be probably question number 6 on the backside for the company that employs 7 people. It's very similar to the one we just did on the board here.